Hey everybody, how's it going? So today is the day with the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer finally arriving yesterday, and the streaming date of October 30th fastly approaching for the new season. It's time to get started on my very own custom Beskar Mandalorian as he appears in the new season with my very own custom Baby Yoda, or of course the child, using some amazing 3D printed casts by Tuminio. I'll drop a link to his store MicroMe down in the description below. And as I've waited 9 months to get started on my own custom Mandalorian minifigures, I've slowly been gathering all kinds of custom parts and pieces, preparing for this time, and I am so excited to begin. I've been waiting to make these minifigures really since the very first image of the Mandalorian was posted, well before I was even in the panel room for Celebration Chicago. So now, even though of course this means a little more time away from Avengers Endgame, I think it would be really strange to arrive at Season 2 without my own custom Mandalorian and the child finally being made. So for those of you who caught How to Make Your Own Custom Minifigures Episode 3, you've already seen the new Pedro Pascal likeness, the face I painted for my custom Mandalorian already, and I think that turned out really great. But yesterday, with the arrival of the new trailer, I got started on finally painting this fantastic helmet by Tuminio by applying that first base layer of black to it, and once that was done, I got started on applying the base silver layers. And this is something that I was going back and forth with myself on. Did I want to go for a darker gunmetal silver or just a more standard silver? I knew I wanted to stick to my water-based acrylic paints and not actually adopt any craziness like using a chrome paint pen or any toxic means of painting actual chrome onto the minifigure. I've told you guys in previous tutorials, I really try to steer clear of oil-based paints and other toxic chemicals if I can. So I did decide to go with the standard silver color that I use on practically all my custom minifigures, because the Mandalorian's helmet and his Beskar armor in Season 1 and now Season 2 is obviously highly reflective. So while it always appears to be a darker silver than it actually is, it's really just his armor reflecting off of the environment. So I think that this color is going to be okay for the Mandalorian. I doubt I'll wind up changing it. However, as I started to apply the silver, of course I had to steer clear of getting any in the actual visor. I wasn't successful the whole time, and I did have to fix a pretty major error when that did actually happen, but thankfully I corrected that, and you can't even tell that it even happened in the first place. And so most of this process, because of how simple the Mandalorian's helmet really is when the detail is already there on the cast, it's just really painting the silver over the entirety of it. And I really didn't want to have too many defined lines on the helmet, because that's really just not how it appears in the series. You don't have any actual black lines or really deep creases on the helmet that stick out too much, and so I wanted to make sure that all of the existing details as part of this design from Tuminio kind of continued to blend with the helmet. And the only area where I really deviated from this to add a little bit more depth was the cheek areas, because even though it's not accurate, I actually wanted to do this just because it looked a little too blank to me, if that makes sense. So I applied the first layer of this on the right cheek, and it kind of looked a little bit messy at first, but eventually I did clean up that area as well, did the same thing to the other cheek, and I'm so glad that I did, because I do think it sort of achieves that depth that I was looking for. And I also did paint the rivets on the back of the helmet in that gunmetal silver that I was originally considering painting the entirety of the helmet and all the Beskar armor in, so you can see that color back there, and then I went around that with silver. And this helmet is not completely done actually. I have to clean up various areas, smooth over a few specks, and then add a bit more silver in some spots as well. But I'm really happy with how this whole thing turned out. One final touch that I did do once I was done was apply a thick layer of sealant right in the middle of the visor. And again, this is something I will cover in a future tutorial, but I didn't want the visor to look matte black as it did originally, so I'm really glad that effect turned out looking as good as it does. And this helmet just looks amazing. Once again, kudos to Tuminio for this one. And next, I got started with the torso piece, also again provided by Tuminio. And I decided on this a while ago, but essentially I'm going to be ripping just the front chest piece and the back, which includes a magnet to connect with the jetpack, separate those from the rest of the piece, clean them up, and connect them with the torso. And to do that, I had to clip off the shoulders beginning with the right one. However, the clippers were not working, and I wound up just using the box cutter to kind of weaken the integrity of the shoulders before they ultimately snapped off with ease, and thankfully that worked out. And then I basically did the same thing to both the front and back torso pieces, and I will be cleaning these up, applying a little bit of Procreate to seamlessly merge them with a dark brown Lego torso, and that's the next step of the process. I do have plans for how I'll be doing Baby Yoda as well, actually inspired by what my buddy Aaron over at LM9 Productions did for his, so look forward to all of that and all the additional progress I'll be making on the Mandalorian customs over this next month. And you can see all of that progress hitting Patreon first. As always, of course, they already saw the helmet before this video went up, and then I will be going in depth on the processes for making the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda as time goes on, and those videos will be hitting over there as well. Otherwise, of course, you can catch the teasers and the Photoshop edits for these two once they're ready for photos over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and eventually probably some montages of them as I work on them on TikTok as well. So that is pretty much going to do it for this short video, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around with me to take the first look at these custom minifigures. I really wanted to share this with all of you, and so I'm going to get back to work, and I cannot wait to do this showcase, and I really hope I'll have time to also paint the Paz Vizsla cast that I have from Tuminio as well. It's absolutely gorgeous. Just don't know if I'll be able to squeeze it in time for the Season 2 premiere, but we'll see. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and this is the way.